Football's like clockwork, innit? A few things you can always count on. Arteta acting like a petulant muppet on the sidelines, Spurs bottling it like they're allergic to trophies, and Everton getting deducted 10 points because they sneezed in the wrong direction. And of course, here comes the yearly dose of EAFC, formerly FIFA, but who's counting? It's the same old football game wrapped up in shiny new PR bollocks that they spoon feed us as if we're starving for it. This year's a game changer, they say. Best thing since sliced bread, they say. Yeah, right, same game, different cover star, let's be honest. And every year, like a bunch of mugs, people lap it up, chuck their cash at EA like it's gone out of fashion, diving headfirst into the loot box pay to win lottery. The only real question here then is whether the tweaks are sneaky enough to con you into binning last year's version, or whether you should just continue holding out. So stick the kettle on, grab a cuppa, and let's go full rant mode at EA FC 25. Now, last year I asked for 11 precious minutes of your life where I reviewed EAFC 24, which we slapped a 4 out of 10 score for innovating the franchise with the square root of f*** all. This time I'm feeling generous, so I'm going to give you back some of your precious time and get straight to the point. What's new, what's not, and spoiler alert, it's mostly not. Same problems as last year, plus a few new ones. Now, normally I'd do a bit of homework for an EAFC review, watch some marketing fluff, maybe skim the nonsense about hypermotion and how players' movements are so accurate that you could probably imagine them nipping off for a quick dump mid-match. But this year, no, I refused to watch a single EAFC video. Instead, I'd see if I could actually spot any changes myself without knowing one thing from this season's outing. And guess what? There's bugger all. Well, except for one new feature, and oddly enough, it's the most satisfying part of the whole bloody lot. So let's dive straight into the gameplay, shall we? It's the same old bollocks, truth be told. If anything, the players felt a bit slower this time round. Now, maybe that's because I was running about with some slow-ass team, but it definitely didn't have that zippy feel to it that I remember from EAFC 24. Tackling is still best done the Haaland way, just bundle into them like a wrecking ball and press, press, press. Movement off the ball, decent enough, I suppose, and the animation as always look rather nice. Passing is solid for the most part, but again it felt like it lost some of that snap, that urgency, and long balls, Christ, they felt floatier than a fart in a swimming pool, giving the other team all the time in the world to head it away. Shooting felt exactly the same to me, with goalkeepers still flinging themselves about like they've got a bet on their own performance, and for the most part they're doing a good job. Now, on my mum's life, I swear I ain't watched a single bit of marketing garbage up to this point of the review, so I'm going to have a little quick gander right now, and I'm going to report back to see if I have an epiphany moment. And I'm back, and the official deep dive gameplay video was 4 minutes long, which says it all, doesn't it? I mean, their big shiny new feature this year is something called FC IQ. Yes, that is the marketing buzzword of the year. It's supposed to focus on tactics and player play styles to make players act smarter on the pitch. Basically, you can tinker in the tactics menu to make your players shuffle around a bit differently during play, but let's be honest, it's a load of old bollocks. I reckon it's more for the hardcore esports lot who'll find some mad setting to score straight from kickoff, but for the rest of us, no, it's all smoke and mirrors. Now's probably a good time then to chat about how EAFC actually looks. And if you plonk EAFC 24 and EAFC 25 next to each other, you'll be squinting to spot the difference. Apparently there's new animations, new clothing movement and all that jazz, but again, let's be honest, you ain't noticing jack shit here. One thing that does stand out though is the player sizes. Sometimes it just don't look right, especially when you're mixing the men and women in Ultimate Team. It's like someone chucked an Ethiopian kid in a Real Madrid shirt for a Band-Aid promo. Tiny, fragile and totally out of place. It's like Midgets FC versus Giants United out there. And then there's the whole body situation. Everyone's had a few too many shots of Ozempic, looking a little bit slim for my liking, as if they're prepping for Fashion Week. I mean, sure, footballers are athletic and they're built to last, and yes, that's what she said, but it's like they've all got Victorian corsets under their shirts. Take Big Ange here, for instance. As a lifelong Spurs fan who worships the Aussie legend, I'll tell you straight, they've done him dirty. We all know he's a bit more of a fat bastard than what's shown here, but apparently EA have been feeding him celery. Now, on the plus side, player faces are decent, and as always, the presentation's top notch. New entrances, fresh animations on the walk-in, and those Ultimate Team Pack unveilings are flashier than ever before. The graphics and lighting overall are as solid as anything else on the market, and the stadiums, they do look delightful. delightful, and the crowd, as ever, is realistic. And a quick note on the sound too, it's hard to wonder how they can actually improve it, to be honest. Little shouts on the pitch from players, authentic chants, solid enough commentary, and as always, a great soundtrack. Overall then, the package is authentic, which is one of EAFC's biggest draws. So let's talk gameplay modes. First off, career mode. Still stuck in the doldrums, dead as a dodo, same cutscenes we've been spoon-fed for years, same negotiation tactics that feel as stale as last week's leftovers. Sure enough, the menus have been given a fresh lick of paint thanks to the FCIQ malarkey, which in theory should liven things up a bit on the pitch, but let's get real. What's worse now is the mountain of screen icons and menus you've got to wade through just to get to a bloody game of football. I'm all for options, but it's starting to feel like you're Brad Pitt out of Moneyball managing a baseball team. It's just endless data. One exciting new feature that they're flogging, you can now pick up a team from a particular week to replay some so-called drama. But let's be straight here, it's just a dressed up version of playing a normal match, hoping to rewrite history. It's nothing groundbreaking, is it? And now for Ultimate Team. Here we go again with the same scummy pay-to-win practice. Want a pack of random players? That'll be your credit card details, thanks very much. What winds me up is how many kids get hooked on this crap. It's basically an entry-level drug to addictive gambling. I said it last year and I'll shout it again. This is a stain on the gaming industry, and the sad part is that we've all slowly started to accept it over the years, but that don't make it any less rotten. To be clear here, there's a massive difference between buying cosmetic crap that has no impact on gameplay versus this. With Ultimate Team, you're dangling Mbappe in front of little Johnny's eyes, making him think that his team is going to be unstoppable just so he can beat the next Bill Crosby online. Bottom line then, Ultimate Team's the same shoddy deal as it's always been, with annoying bugs like both teams playing in white and the usual connection issues which always occur in the first few weeks of a new installment of EAFC. And that brings us to Pro Mode, where you create your own little superstars, start racking up wins to unlock skills via the good old skill tree. Online, you and your mates each take your developing pro onto the pitch trying to level up, and honestly, this for me is the best mode. It's like your personal little story, and it's proper fun building a player around your own style of play. You can still play the traditional 11-a-side if that's your cup of tea, but the mode that really gets me excited in my pants is Rush Mode. It's a 5-a-side brawl on a smaller pitch, and the gameplay is pure chaos, fast, frantic, and pure football fun. You'll have tackles flying in everywhere with goals galore, and instead of a red card, you've got a blue card like a naughty little schoolboy, and you get a minute in the sin bin instead. My only gripe here then is that they didn't push it far enough. Commentary, whilst enjoyable at first, gets repetitive quicker than your missus nagging about taking out the rubbish. There's only one stadium, the same kits every time, you get the picture here. They're onto something special here with Rush though, and it's easily one of the highlights of EA FC 25. So there you have it then. New year, new AFC, same old bag of tricks. YouTube is telling me that 36% of you are watching this video right now on your mobile device. So have a gander at your phone. Are you one of those who upgrades every year for a few shiny tweaks? If so, EAFC 25 is tailor-made for you. But for my money, the smart way to play these early cash grabs is to upgrade every 3 or 4 years, when the changes are actually big enough to feel like you've got something new squad, slightly better gameplay. It's very much like waiting for a decent pint to settle. So what's the score this year? Well, to be honest, it's the same as last year because it never feels different enough to warrant a change. Is it the best football game out there? Of course it bloody is, but it's also the only one. Complacency has proper kicked into the franchise, hasn't it? So if you're due for a new footy game, EAFC 25, it won't steer you wrong, but if not, save the pennies, head down the pub and spend it on a few pints while you watch Super Sunday with a group of mates. Until next time, my lovelies, Reggie out.